The 7 Years' War, from 1756 to 1763, by Chelsea Ledford, Angelia Berry, Olivia Sanchez, and Robin Jacks. Narration by Olivia Sanchez. The 7 Years' War involved every great power of the time. The main conflict went on from 1756 to 1763. It was considered to be the greatest war since the 30 Years' War, and it once again split Europe into two coalitions. One was led by Great Britain and the other by France. Many smaller powers in Europe tried to steer clear of the escalating conflict. Although the 7 Years' War is commonly called the French and Indian War in the United States, it should not to be confused with the French and Indian War that began 2 years prior. The 7 Years' War was launched suddenly by Frederick II of Prussia. It was very similar to the War of the Austrian Succession, where he seized the rich territory of Silesia. Frederick II knew that Austria was dying to win Silesia back, so he launched an unprovoked attack on Saxony on August 29, 1756. He marched 70,000 soldiers to their doorstep and war broke out. This portion of the 7 Years' War turned out to be minor, because the worldwide conflict between France and Britain dominated this war. A major turning point for Europe in the 7 Years' War was created by Maria Theresa from Austria. She saw the return of war between Britain and France as an opportunity to become an ally for Britain in exchange for their help against Frederick II. She had her eyes set on taking back Silesia, which had been taken during the Austrian Succession. She was willing to do whatever was necessary to get Silesia back. In a twist of fate, she learned that Frederick II was already an ally of Britain, and it ruined her plan. Her foreign minister urged her to forget the 250-year-old feud between the Bourbons of France and her Habsburg family and ally herself with France. Frederick was creating enemies everywhere. Madame Pompadour of France was hostile towards him because he insulted her by pretending not to know who she was. The ruler of Russia since 1741 was Peter the Great's daughter, Elizabeth, who had also been the target of Frederick's insults. He described her as a superstitious and indolent voluptuary. On May 1, 1756, France and Austria signed an alliance, the First Treaty of Versailles. It stated that Austria was to remain neutral in France's war against Britain, and France had to accept the attacks on Brandenburg, Prussia. Against all norms, Russia joined the alliance. The three women in charge, Madame Pompadour, Maria Theresa, and Elizabeth, became known as the League of the Three Petticoats. Frederick did not want to go to war. He was afraid he would be attacked, so he chose to make the first move. He and his army of 70,000 took Dresden, the capital of Saxony, on September 10th. The defeated Saxons were orders into Frederick's army. Europeans thought that a showdown in war was too expensive and dangerous. They preferred to outmaneuver the enemy's army so that they could not get supplies and food, causing them to retreat. On October 1st, Austria's army and Frederick's army crossed paths. The clash of the Lausitz caused the death of about 3,000 soldiers on each side. There were many meetings like this throughout the entire 7 years. On February 10, 1763, Britain, Spain, and France signed the Treaty of Paris, and on February 15th, Austria and Brandenburg-Prussia signed the Peace of Hubertsburg, ending the 7 Years' War. Frederick successfully held on to Silesia, and Austria gained nothing. France lost all of their possessions in the Americas, and Britain spent all of their money. No one really won this war. Thank you.